Hi everybody, welcome to South Central Vinyl. Today I'm going to be showing off records by the band Feeder, who are one of my favourite bands of all time. Been to see the band a bunch of times live, and I'm happy to say that I own every vinyl record that they've ever released. Today I'm just going to be talking through the LPs and the compilations, but if you enjoy this video, let me know and I'll do the singles as well. I'll go in chronological order. 1996 was when Feeder released Swim, their first EP. The main tracks on this that carried over to the first album by the band, Descend and Stereo World. But in addition to that, there were tracks like Sweet 16 and Shade that were put onto video game soundtracks, namely the Gran Turismo soundtrack for the Sony PlayStation. The band's next release, their first full album, Polythene. This was released in 1997 before being reissued again shortly thereafter to include the single High, which had been a success in radio in the States and in the UK. Really great tracks on this album. Descend, possibly my favourite, quite probably my favourite from this album. A really great kind of grunge-ish sound the band had at this point. A really fantastic debut album. As the 90s wore on, the tastes of the band and the direction changed. In '99 they released Yesterday Went Too Soon, which had a bit more kind of indie sensibility to it. In a sleeve there. Again, the standout tracks at the time, Insomnia was the lead single. Yesterday Went Too Soon, the title track, also a big song for them. And then the commercial breakthrough, Echo Park. Released in 2001. This is a gatefold sleeve. And the inner. This was notable for their chart hit, Buck Rogers, as well as 7 Days in the Sun and Turn. This was the hardest record of all of their albums to find on vinyl, being released at the time it was released, and with the quantity that were released. I don't know how many copies of Echo Park were put out. I would have guessed at around 1,000. I honestly don't know. The first compilation, this is Picture of Perfect Youth, which is a collection of the B-sides from all the tracks, all the singles I should say, and the albums to this point. A couple were missing, but overall a really nice collection of tracks from the early years of the band. It's a 3 LP set. Each record in a nice glossy sleeve. This collection most notable for probably for having the song Just a Day, which the band had released as a single, but a non-album single, and this was the first time that it was collected into any kind of long play. After a period away in tragic loss of John Lee, the drummer, the band returned in 2002 with Comfort and Sound. My favourite album of theirs. It's absolutely stacked with hits from the band. The lead single, Come Back Around, Just the Way I'm Feeling. Find the Colour was released as a single as well. Forget About Tomorrow. This was released on a lovely white vinyl. In 2005, the band released Pushing the Senses, which was a commercial success for them. Some big singles again off of this release, such as Feeling a Moment, Pushing the Senses, Tumble and Fool, and Tender, all were singles. The album released on a standard black vinyl. In 2006, the band's first greatest hits compilation was put out. This is the singles. This is a real prized possession in my collection. I'm to understand from Discogs and other sources that there were only 500 of these ever pressed, and the copy that I own is in near mint condition. A collection of singles from the band's albums up to that point. There were some new tracks also added into this that aren't available in any other format on vinyl, such as Burn the Bridges. The band's final album on their label that they had been with up to this point, Echo. This is Silent Cry, which around the time of the release of the album, Echo as a label collapsed, and the promotion of this album was pretty weak by comparison to their previous releases. A hard record to get hold of on vinyl. This copy was sold as part of a charity auction in 2019, of which I was lucky enough to win. And you can see there the 2019 date, signed by Grant and Tacker. The album itself was commercially not a huge success, which I think it's a real shame. I think it's probably their most underrated release. They have there's some really great tracks on this, some really good ideas, but by this point, with such little promotion, things kind of have moved on for the band, and they didn't really ever get back to the level they were at, although they have had a fantastic resurgence in recent years. In 2010, the band released Renegades. It was the first album tour that I saw them on live. They performed in a tiny, tiny venue, played songs from this album as well as some cuts from their earlier records, and I was completely blown away by them. They were magnificent. The album itself, very straightforward, back to roots, kind of grunge, garage grunge kind of idea. Really, really cool release. They performed under the name Renegades to hide the fact that it was them. They were fantastic. The vinyl wasn't released until 2012 as part of a kind of Christmas package, along with the band's next album, Generation Freak Show. So this is a strange double LP situation where Renegades features here with the track listing here on the inside, the record inside that in a sleeve. Whilst on the other side, inside a sleeve, was Generation Freak Show and the artwork there. Generation Freak Show was also released in a standalone vinyl format, which I also have here. A really unusual release, the double LP, but really great. Really great to have them in the collection. A great way to get those albums in the collection because, as I said, Renegades wasn't initially released on vinyl. All Bright Electric was released in 2016. This copy was a pre-order signed by Grant and Taka. It's a 2 LP set with a gatefold. This was viewed as a sort of return to form for the band. It was released on 1 LP with this standard black. And the other a translucent yellow. In 2017, the band released another compilation. This is the best of. There's a large set and book covering the whole career of the band to that point. Really great photos put in here, which track the history of the band. And what was excellent about this release is that they, in addition to the 3 LPs of singles and hits from the band's retrospective career, was that they released on the final 4th LP a whole new album's worth of material called Arrow, which I'll show here. It also came with a slip mat. Well, that's Arrow. Just one of the discs within this set. In 2019, the band released Tallulah. This was signed by Grant, Taka and Jeff, who's the drummer of the band. I got this signed by the band. I met them in person at a record store, signing and pre-order. They played a short acoustic set and then a meet and greet. So I went and picked this up. This was, for me, a real return to form for them. Really fantastic, anthemic summer album on this lovely white vinyl. Best songs on the album, probably Youth, the opener, and the title track, Tallulah. I'm a big fan of that track. Also had the web store pre-order of the album on picture disc, which was signed by Grant and Taka as well. I've never put this one on to listen to because I have the other copy, but very interesting artwork and a cool thing to have in the collection. So bringing it to current day, I've got Torpedo, their most recent release. Like Tallulah, I have a signed web store copy and a picture disc. It was part of a bundle for the pre-order for the album. I've showed this off in a pickups video already. It came with a nice vibrant inner sleeve and vibrant purple vinyl. And that's it as of the time of recording. That's the entire Feeder album discography. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.